Those are the firmest of the sole. About the only sole you could put on a grill and turn with a fork like a steak.
Now, how do we tell when it's done?
Well, when you open it in the center here and you see that it separates from the bone, you know that basically it is ready.
That's very important to know because you
Right.
don't want to overcook it. And some people say, cook it until the fish flakes. You've overcooked it in that sense,
Right.
haven't you?
Sometimes you may cover it also, you know, to give it a little bit of steam. But it changes taste a little bit. I like it done a bit longer this way.
Yes.
So we'll leave it for another minute. I think they are ready. You can serve it, of course, with the bone on, as Julia likes it this way. Otherwise, you can bone it out. And what you do, this one is the one with the skin on, as you can see. And you can either separate it this way or run your knife right there.
This is that wonderful flat bone.
Yes, in the center of it. And I've cut it in the center. So what happens is that usually the maître d' does that in front of you. So you can remove one of those fillets, as you can see here. Beautiful white meat, you know.
And
the
it's
other fillet like
definitely
this.
dead because it comes easily off the bone,
And now
but it's still juicy.
the second one,
Yeah.
you know, we lift up
You
very
can
nicely.
add that to your fish stock.
Add that to your fish stock. Here you are. And then we put this back on top of it. There. So I could either do that in the dining room in front of the customer, or you can do that on your table, rearrange that on your plate, and at that point you have your 4 individual fillets of sole all bone out. It's a nice way of doing it.
And now you're going to make the black butter sauce.
Yeah, we do black butter. So, Julia, you want to put some capers on top of that?
Okay, or you're going to put them in the pan?
We put them. You can put them in the pan.
Well, I'd rather put them in the pan.
Okay, I'll do a little bit of parsley. We have some lemon juice too. For the parsley. There, you can see the butter is changing color there, and you want it a beurre, what we call a beurre noisette, that is hazelnut color. You want to give me some capers?
You're going to put some of these capers in there, right in there.
Yeah.
So I think they're nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you want to put some of the lemon juice directly in there also.
Oh, that's going to be
Good. And
delicious.
put your parsley first. So when you put that on top of it,
it
it
smells so good.
cook it a little bit. It cook your parsley by putting the hot butter and lemon mixture. And now,
So there you are. That's it. And now you're just eating. Now we're going to take this beautiful red snapper,
fresh out of the water.
fresh out of the water, and we're going to turn it into a fish fillet poached in white wine. That's one of the classic ways of doing fish fillets in French cooking.
Yes. And you're going to do it one way, and I'll do it another way.
Exactly.
So I'll take the fillet. In fact, you know, that type of fish, those grouper or type of fish like that are very good for stock. You know, so you do
Fish
a great
stock.
stock with that, yes. Here is one fillet. Try to go under the gill here to lose the least amount of fish that you can.
And this is a beautifully fresh fish also, except you've got your finger in it.
Yes.
You can see it has a nice bright eye.
Yeah, nice bright eye, that's true, yes. And very often also we used to cook those fish on the bone, you know, but now conventionally it is done on the fillet. This one has been scaled already. I'm taking the bone from the belly here. And that again would go into the stock. I'm cleaning it up a little bit of the tail. I think it's pretty good. That would be a nice fillet, a big one. But
I'd like the skin taken off, please.
Oh, you want the skin
Yes,
off?
I
Oh,
do.
okay. I will oblige. This way, lifting it up, you know, to hold this way, and you move in a
You
kind
can
of
hold
jigsaw.
that in a towel, too.
Yes, and you
It's
move
kind of slippery.
in a jigsaw fashion, you know, to try really to get your skin out of it. So it's a very useful
That looks lovely.
technique, huh?
I have to have some shallot with mine. If you don't have shallots, you can always use scallions. But shallots have a little more flavor, I think. I'm gonna put the shallots. I'm gonna have a little bit of butter in
And you
there.
want to poach that with...
You use white wine. I've not had great success always with white wine. I find it a little sour frequently, so I always use dry white French vermouth.
Okay.
There is a horrible American vermouth. Do not use. I shall not reveal its name.
Okay.
But it's awful. I'm going to keep the nice side up here.
Okay. That's
Let's
beautiful.
see, and there's my vermouth.
You have salt, pepper, the vermouth is there.
A little bit of water in.
You want your mushroom?
And then mushrooms. What's this? I can't remember. Is this called gourmet or bonne femme?
Bonne femme, yes, that's right.
That is good wife.
Actually, you remember it more than I do.
Good wife who cooks her husband.
You know what I'll do for you? Maybe I'll do a piece of paper.
Oh, yes, we need that also.
So what you can do is to butter the paper this way, and fold it in half.
This is always the first thing you learn in cooking school is how to make a paper cover.
Right. And from the cover where there is no opening, you do one triangle into another smaller and smaller triangle. And then you measure the radius here, which is from here about to here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have your,
very nicely
your
buttered.
buttered pieces of paper here, right?
You know that there's a French book called The Repertoire de la Cuisine, or the Kitchen Repertory. And I think you did it. You did a translation of that.
No, I did a little introduction, yes.
How many fish and white wine were there? So over 200.
Yes, over 200. There's 7,500 recipes in a very tiny book, but very elliptical. Just give you very simple explanation. Okay. Shall I start mine too?
Mm-hmm.
So what I will do
This
here...
should be about 6 minutes or so.
Okay. For me, I'm going to put a little bit of onion, which I'm chopping just like you did yours. And my 2 pieces of fish, which I'm putting directly on top with, I use black pepper because I like the black pepper, some salt, white wine. Yeah, dry white wine. This is the Chardonnay. I think I'll put a bit of tomato in it. And maybe, you know, I'll take the skin out of it. And if you have a good vegetable peeler like this, you know, you can take the skin of your tomato.
No, the fish fillets du glace, I think that has tomatoes and mushrooms.
You're absolutely right there.
So I guess this would be à la Provençal, would it?
Yes.
But you need a little garlic in.
You remember your classic more than I do, you know? So here we are. You mean you want me to put garlic on top of this?
No.
Okay.
But you can.
Okay.
It's your recipe.
I'll cut this. So now, basically, again, you know, this is great for stock. You have the skin, you have the juice, the seed. All I have is the flesh of the tomato, which I'll cut in little dice. Okay. I'll have that part here. And maybe a bit of fresh thyme, I think I want to put in there. So maybe all the sprig of thyme, you know. This way it will be nice on top. It will give a lot of flavor.
Yes, that will be kind of à la Provençal.
Yes, with thyme, tomato. Yeah. It's the style of the south of France, it's true.
Except for not having the garlic.
No garlic. And this is going to cook for a couple of minutes, and during that time of the garnish, we're going to do cucumber. And in a classic way also, to do the cucumber, we're going to tourner cucumber. So you all cut them in the same size, and you could also peel it, but conventionally we cut them this way
I think
in 4 chunks.
If you're going to cook it with the skin on, you want to make sure that the cucumber hasn't been waxed.
Yes.
And this is an unwaxed one.
Do you want to do some?
Sure.
Here is a little knife, where you have one. So what we want to do here, you start with where the seed are. You remove that part of the seed, of course.
Or you can cut the whole thing in half and use a spoon to get it out.
You can do that too. But I mean, if you want to do what we call tourner here, that is doing kind of little football shape, then you want to use a paring knife like that. This is what you learn in school. And take the smallest amount, of course, of the skin to give it that shape. And actually, you know, one cucumber is enough for like 3 or 4 people. You serve 4 or 5 pieces per person.
Mine isn't doing very well, so I'll eat it.
Good. Well, I'll eat that one. It's not too good,
Okay.
too. That cucumber has a lot of seed. There's almost no flesh left, you know.
I think cooked cucumbers just lovely with fish.
With fish, it's excellent. So what we'll do here is actually just put a little bit of water, a dash of salt, and as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm going to boil that 1.5 to 2 minutes. It goes very fast.
I think mine is about done.
Yes, I would say that this is great. You're absolutely right there. We should start the sauce. And your sauce you're going to do?
I'm going to do the classic beurre blanc.
See, where this one comes from?
Now, this is when I was in Paris, gosh, way back in the very early 50s. White butter sauce you didn't find in classical cooking. There was a beurre from Nantes.
Oh, the beurre Nantes. Yeah, right, I remember that.
And there was only one person in Paris called La Mère Michel.
Who was doing it?
She was doing it in her restaurant. She was an elderly woman with white hair, and she made her sauce in a pan exactly like this. So after she taught us how to do it, I went out and bought this pan. So that's how old? That's about 50 years old.
I'm going to put my cucumber here with a little bit of water. That's it. Just cook a few minutes. And
I'm going to strain my sauce out.
We'll
Strain it right
just
into
hold
there.
it like that with the lid, you know, and that gives you all the juice of the fish. And the advantage of that technique, of course, is that you keep that nice and warm here
Take
in
it
this
off the
corner.
heat.
And then you can do your sauce in there.
We want to boil this down to practically a tablespoon.
So you're going to do a beurre blanc.
Beurre blanc de Nantes.
And basically here, this is an emulsion of this. You reduce, and you use that as a flavoring agent,
Yeah.
right?
And also, the butter
It's
will
nice and
thicken in
creamy.
it.
Beautiful,
And-
yes. Good.
Now, you're going to do what?
I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do, let's see, mine. Mine is about cooked too, so I may remove it and put it in something like this and do the sauce here. I think my cucumber are ready here. There is basically no water left, but I will drain just the remaining water.
That's about
That's it.
none.
Yeah, I can steal a little piece of butter from you.
No, for me.
Okay.
As much
I'll
as
put this in there, a dash of salt, and that's it. I will finish letting that melt here, warm up to serve with the fish. Okay. Now, are you ready with oh, your reduction is beautiful there.
Yeah.
Okay. And here, what do you have here? About two tablespoons?
About 3 tablespoons.
Yeah, 3 tablespoons.
Now, you do it right over heat, don't you?
Yes.
Oh.
Lower heat, sir.
And then the La Mère Michel, she used to do it, putting it bit by bit in.
Yes.
I'll do it your method because it's faster.
That's good.
I think of the beurre blanc came into fashion again with, what was it, Michel Gerard and La Nouvelle Cuisine.
Yes, that's true.
And then now that everyone is so afraid of fat, because they don't know how to manage it properly, you don't see it much anymore. But it is delicious, I think.
Absolutely. And you know, if you consider very often, you know, you do a beurre blanc or something like this, and you end up putting 4 or 5 tablespoons of butter to serve that to 2 or 3 people. Well, a couple of tablespoons of butter per person, it's not the end of the world.
Well, I think you have to be aware of it's not something you're going to eat every day.
Right.
And then if it was anything that's left over, you can keep and beat into, say, a velouté sauce.
In a velouté, yeah? Yeah, you have a nice texture. It's delicious. Really good.
That hasn't thickened a great deal,
I think it's great. Here, you want to taste it?
I think.
It's good, isn't it?
That is good. Do I want to?
A little dash of vermouth? All right. I knew you were going to do that. Now, what we need is a little bit of pepper in it.
Yeah.
You want some black?
No, I love white.
See, I like black pepper. So what I'm going to do with mine is actually You can't eat all the sauce. We need it for the fish.
Mm.
I'm going to move mine to...
Well, that looks very nice.
To a gratin dish like this.
And with the skin, which is decorative.
At that point, I'm going to do a little bit of so-called a beurre blanc. So I put, about that much, a couple of teaspoons of butter, and about the same amount of flour. Where do I have flour? Right here. So I can go with the tip of my
So there's going to be kind of
I have it.
a beurre manier.
A beurre manier, that's right. And I mix it together. And it's great to use a whisk for that, because you see what happens is that I really have a minimum, because I don't really want much here. And while at the end of my whisk, I can go directly into the hot liquid. This is cold, this is hot, and I will whisk it in, and it will incorporate very nicely and very easily. And right away, as you see, this will come to a boil and give me a little bit of the viscosity that I need. Just oily.
And I can lend you a little bit of my beurre blanc if you need it.
No, I'm putting cream in mine.
Well, you're putting in cream.
So I'm putting 3 tablespoons of cream.
Well, that's going to be nice.
And of course, I will let that reduce for a second. Maybe a dash of lemon juice. Do you think so? There to have a bit of acidity. Good. To a few drops at the end. That's about it. I mean, I'm basically ready. And yours?
Well, I think I'm going to serve my rice in here.
Directly in there.
That didn't thicken up. It should look like a hollandaise. I think a little parsley.
Would you like a few of those cucumbers around, like this?
And some up in there.
And a few here.
Those look awfully nice, don't they?
Yes. This is very, very classic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see mine. Maybe arrange some cucumber
But the cucumbers are really just lovely with fish, I think.
Yes. Just putting a little ring of cucumber. And I will serve my fish there with the sauce, a bit of the tomato in there.
Mm. Very pretty.
And I may borrow a little bit of your parsley here on top. Et voilà, madame.
Et voila.
I think those are great dishes, you know. It's fun cooking together, isn't it?
It is fun cooking together. So, bon appetit.
And happy cooking.
A presentation of KQED San Francisco.
This looks so good. It almost feels like we're having a Thanksgiving feast.
Well, and this is Tuesday, the 13th of May, an illustration that you can have a great turkey dinner any time of the year.
Right.
And this is a special turkey.
Yes, it's a special turkey. This has been bone out. The leg has been taken out and stuffed. And the breast is cooked right on the stuffing.
And it's easy to serve and
delicious.
Delicious.
Yes.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Happy cooking.
Bon appetit. much does this turkey weigh?
I think it's about 15 pounds, this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a fresh one, although there are frozen ones on the market,
They
right?
certainly are. And I think frozen ones are very good indeed if you get it from a reputable store. They should have remained frozen. What's terrible in the turkey is if it's frozen and defrosted and refrozen and then the breast gets kind of shreddy.
So you have to go to a good store, I think.
I think so.
You know? And I hate that little red thing, whatever it is in it, so I take that out. There is that type of plastic thing at the end.
I don't know why they put it on.
We remove the plastic. Anything which is not turkey we remove first, right?
Oh, did they give us a nice packet of giblets?
I think so. What do we have in there?
They didn't give us much.
And I should have the neck here. All of that is going to go in our stock, so we need it.
And we're going to make a giblet gravy.
Giblet gravy.
Well, there's the gizzard, the giblet.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they give us quite a nice liver this time. And the neck is going to go into the turkey stock for the gravy. And I think one thing also you have to watch out for, say in Thanksgiving, if you think you're getting a fresh turkey, they're going to do 4,000 turkeys. They can't possibly slaughter them all in one day, so they've been sitting around in ice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're maybe better off getting a frozen turkey.
But if you get a frozen turkey, be sure to defrost it under refrigeration for like 48 hours. It does take that long.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do is, rather than doing it just a plain roast, we're going to roast the breast separately and the leg thighs separately, and then sort of lean them against each other so it'll look like a whole turkey, but it takes about half the time.
Shall I start by taking out the leg?
Yes.
I'm raising it out to use it as a weight, you know, so that I can cut the skin. To a certain extent, that's all you have here, just the skin.
And you're cutting it up to this point.
And at that point here, when I get up to the carcass, then I will have to take that
We
piece
have what
here.
we call the oysters.
So you can see that up. And there I finish against a bone also. And at that point, you have to crack it open. Often people extend the leg and try to crack it this way. You can't. What you have to do is to bring it here, grab it at the knee. That's where it cracks open.
See, that's wonderful. It just breaks off.
And here you have the large sinew. We cut through the sinew.
Mm-hmm.
And all we have to do is to pull it out. So that's it. On this side, the same way too. I cut the skin.
And
the oyster.
And just feel that point, that oyster of meat up there.
Crack it open, cut through the sinew, and pull out. So that's
great.
Pretty good. So this is, now we have our breast, right?
Mm-hmm.
We keep the wing on?
Yes, we're going to take off the nubbins.
Oh, we take out the, what do you call it?
Nubbin.
The nubbin, and which is that little piece at the end and here.
That little piece there. But everything goes into the stock.
And the stock here, and that part. So this, now we're gonna cut the carcass. We're gonna cut the whole carcass here and there to give that for the stock. This way.
And this is perfectly easy to do yourself too.
And this way here. This is our stock. Here is the breast of our turkey, maybe too much skin. I'll take a little piece out of it. Here.
So take out the wishbone.
Oh yes, you want the wishbone.
Yeah.
Okay, that part here, we put that underneath also.
They call that wings akimbo.
Oh, that's what they call?
Well, that's what I call it.
Oh, good. So here you can see that there is that triangle here, and you can feel it, the wishbone here. So what you have to do is to cut on each side of it.
The reason for taking that off is that it makes carving much easier and neater.
Yes. And then you try to pry it out with your finger.
You don't have to get it out in one piece. You just get the two.
No, you have to get it out in one piece.
You can get the two prongs out. Oh, you want it because you want a wish on it.
Yes.
See.
We have to get it
That's
out in one piece.
That's for the children in the audience.
I broke it. We can pull on it, but that's for your stock too. So we are ready for this. This I'm going to put on the side here. And this I'll cut for the stock there.
Shall I start browning that a little bit?
I think so. You have your vegetable. We have the neck. We have the gizzard. Shall I continue boning on the leg?
Yes, I think that's fine. I'll start that.
And we're cutting the end of the drumstick here. And as you can see, At the end of that drumstick, there is an enormous amount of very tough sinew here, which are kind of difficult to pull out. You could, with a plier, pull them out at that point, but it's much easier to pull them out when it's cooked. As the meat is cooked, it comes out. All we want to remove here is the bone from the thigh bone, which is here. So all you do, you run with your knife on each side, a little bit this way. And all you have to do is to pry your finger underneath, put your knife underneath, and after scrape it. You scrape it up to the joint here, and then we want to cut through the joint. That's more stuff for the stock. Here you are. And the second one in the same way. And in the place of the thigh bone, we're going to put some of the stuffing. You could also put herbs, you could put chopped mushroom, you could do whatever you want to flavor it. So now we have those two legs which are ready to be stuffed and replaced together. How is the stock doing?
Well, slowly. I'm going to brown these vegetables that are going into the stock. I have some carrots and onions and a little bit of celery. While the meat's browning, I'm going to brown the vegetables too.
So now can I start on the stuffing?
You may.
Good. I started my stuffing here. I have chopped onion, chopped celery, chopped mushroom, oil, a little bit of butter. Into this I'm going to put some sage. And this I'm going to cut it coarsely. You want like a good 2-3 tablespoons in our stuffing here. We're going to put a bit of link sausage here, but don't forget to remove the skin of those. You know, those are breakfast sausage. And we have about 8 ounces of it here. And then you have some cornbread for me?
I have a whole lot of cornbread here.
Good. Well, this is our base, the cornbread. This was homemade, but I'm sure you can buy some, right?
I think the box top recipe is great for it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to add that to the stuffing here.
Good.
And we'll put the bread directly in a bowl. So what I need to have in there is some chicken stock. I'll put like about a cup. And that's ready to add to the bread.
I have my vegetables tender. And the meat is partially browned now. I think having a good stock makes an awful lot of difference. Having a great gravy.
I like that stuffing when it's a little bit loose, you know. So, it's time for me to stuff the legs. So here they are. You would normally wait for this to be totally cold. I mean, it's a little bit lukewarm now. So I'll put a bit of pepper, salt in it. And like a cup of stuffing there. And as I say, if one of them you want to have some fresh herbs, just saute some fresh herb, different thing in it, you can put that only in it. You could, of course, sew it together. You can put it in a sheet cloth too. I think one of the easiest ways is to put it in a piece of aluminum foil. Maybe about that size. I want to measure it. About like this.
And then that's going to hold together and you can take the foil off.
Yes, I think you would want to cook it a good hours, you know, this way, so that it
nice
holds
and neat
together.
package.
And you don't even close the end of it, so the heat can go in there, you know, and continue cooking. So here we are. You do that one too. So I have the stuffing in the two legs here. And the rest of the stuffing, we're going to put it directly on our roasting pan.
I think we should say also that you can make the stuffing ahead, you can make the stock ahead, and you can prepare the turkey, but don't stuff it until just before roasting it, because the stuffing is kind of moist and it can spoil, and then it would spoil your whole turkey. So just get everything ready, but stuff only at the last moment.
Think we should put a dash of oil in the bottom?
I think so.
Okay.
But we have some. I have some turkey.
You have a little bit of this?
Keep it all the same stuff.
Plenty, yeah. I'll spread it out a little bit in there. And we'll put all our stuffing. Use my hand, it's going to be easier here. That would serve a dozen people, right, at least?
I would think. I think if you count on a pound of turkey per person if you want leftovers. If you don't want leftovers, that would be strange, though. You half a pound will do.
See, we have our turkey here. I'm going to put it directly on top of it. Okay. Then my 2 legs. This way, that way.
My turkey backbone is brown. Now I have this
Put the stuffing
bit of
underneath.
liver.
That's it.
So I'm going to saute the liver and we'll set that aside.
Really, I'm putting a bit of salt on top of it here.
Good. Jack, the meat's
Looking
all
good.
ready for the
Okay, I have
liquid.
thyme, bay leaf
Let's put some
with it.
thyme and some 2 nice. This is imported bay leaf, Lauris nobilis. Now water goes in.
And you have your vegetable here. We have carrot, onion, and so
Yes,
forth.
they're all in the bottom of the pan.
These have to cook for a couple of hours. And what we have here, we have extra onion, carrot. You left me some celery. All of that we're going to put around the turkey after it's cooked about an hour in the oven. When it's cooked an hour in the oven, also you can slide out those 2 pieces of aluminum foil and put your vegetable around.
And
So
that's
that's
going
what
to
I'm
make
going
a
to do.
nice
Yeah,
flavored gravy.
about 375 degrees.
Now we're going to make cranberry chutney, and we're going to do creamed onions. Nice thing about cranberries, now these are frozen cranberries. You can get them all year round. And Jack is going to make the chutney with
Yes.
some apples.
Some apple. We put some orange juice.
So that was 1 cup of orange juice, and
Yeah.
you got 2 cups of cranberries.
And I'm going to put maybe 1 apple. You think 1 apple is enough? Okay. And
That's not an enormous amount.
cut it into little dice.
Going to leave the skin on.
I leave the skin on
And
this.
that's a Granny Smith apple.
Yeah, it's a nice green one. So, where we have a lot of sweetness here with the orange juice, we put a bit of vinegar in there. Of course, I have to put some sugar.
This just goes beautifully with goose and duck and
Yes,
pork.
all of this.
It's nice to have on, and it keeps very nicely in
So
the
put a
fridge.
little bit of pepper flake for hotness here, and maybe some lemon.
Lemon rind.
Yeah, maybe I'll do the strip with that part. And at that point, I was going to press the juice out of it, but it looked good this way, so maybe I'll cut this way.
Do you notice how he says maybe? He's really making up the recipes going along. No, he
Yes.
knows the general theme of the recipe. Every once in a while, he'll have a better idea.
Yes, well, this is cuisine d'opportunité, you know.
Yeah,
Because-
well, as we say, recipes are not written in
Okay.
stone. They're just to give you an idea of what to do, and then you go on.
See, that looks beautiful.
That
And I
does.
think that this will cook a few minutes and those things really burst open, right? So we let it cook.
Now we're going to do creamed onions. These were onions that were peeled and then cooked very slowly in a little bit of chicken stock. Now I'm going to reduce or boil down the chicken stock to almost nothing, which it has done, and put in a little bit of cream. I'm just going to let that boil now.
Just so that naturally it reduces and get thick enough.
I'll put a little more pepper in. I know you'd like black pepper.
Yes, I
This
do.
is white.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is our liver and the gizzard, the heart, the neck. We're going to pick that up and cut it in pieces for the sauce. That's it.
I'm chopping up. This is the gizzard, and remember that cooked with the stock ingredients.
Yeah.
It makes a very nice gravy to have these all little tidbits in. Some people throw them out. Tant pis pour eux.
Yes. Don't throw anything out.
Not
I'm
until
doing
you-
the neck here and the flesh of the neck,
And this is, I'm doing the heart here.
the heart. All of that we're going to add.
And here's that liver.
Oh, you add the liver at the end too?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cloudy the stock, you know, the liver.
Well, we're going to thicken it anyway, so it's going to be a little cloudy.
Shall I put it in there now? So
Yeah,
this is our stock, which, as you see, has reduced now. It's darker in color. So that's going to go in it. Nice.
And then we're going to thicken it with some potato starch.
Some potato starch.
That's about it.
That's about it.
Heaping tablespoon.
Yeah, that could be plenty. You want some white
no,
wine?
You can put some white wine. Or a little tawny port. It's dry, though. You don't want it sweet.
So this dilute and the starch, the pure starch like this is potato starch. You can use arrowroot also, or even cornstarch, but the cornstarch tend to be a bit too gooey, so I think this is better.
Also, I don't think it's very stable.
Right. And what happened is that as it touch, it thicken on contact. So you put a little bit and you stir it, and you look at it, put a little more, stir it, look at it, you can stop whenever you want. It thicken right as it touch the liquid, so.
Is that going to be thick enough?
You want to
We'd
taste it?
better taste it, yes. I think that's a little bit light. What do you think?
You think so? I think it's beautiful the way it is. I think it may need a dash of salt, though.
I don't think it needs salt.
Okay.
That little hint of port was awfully nice in it.
It helps,
Not very much, but you just have that little sophisticated flavor.
Okay, so I'm going to check on the turkey.
Okay. Oh, here we are, ready to serve. Here's our turkey. You remember the breast is sitting on the stuffing, and then we have the leg thighs, and the thigh part has a stuffing in it.
And Julia, I think now, one way of knowing whether this is cooked or not is actually to remove those little tendons
Yes, you can tell that they're done if the tendons will pull out.
And they pull out beautifully.
And they do.
Yeah? Look at that. Okay, so here I'm going to transfer the breast, and I think that because you want all your stuffing to be with it, so we can grab it just this way and put it there with the stuffing underneath. Good.
That's great. Then we can turn the legs up.
We're going to
when it looks,
reconstitute
you never would know.
the leg. That's it. And I'm taking all that beautiful juice here and adding my sauce to it. Bring that to a boil, and we finish the sauce.
Well, he's doing that. Here are the creamed onions. Look at the way that's beautifully reduced. And those are going to go into a little separate dish here. As I said, you could do it without cream, but you'll be sorry, because that's so good added to the gravy.
And now we have the cranberry, which are cooled off and are, of course, thicker.
And they have thickened, too.
They have thickened.
Yeah.
And now
we
move on
have
to
the Brussels sprouts. And these Brussels sprouts let you do that. We're blanched and cut in half, so they're really cooked. You can leave out the butter if you want, can't you?
But you'll be sorry.
You'll be sorry.
And then we have extra, of course, the sweet potato here, and a regular mashed potato, and those are kept in hot water. That's a good idea. And we're going to combine it together, right?
This wouldn't be a turkey dinner without two kinds of potatoes,
yes,
would it?
Right. Yes. I love it.
Oh, and I think everyone loves mashed potatoes.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay, and here is...
And that mashed sweet potatoes.
That's the sweet potato.
And this time it doesn't have marshmallows on it, but you
no
could.
marshmallow in it.
I rather like marshmallows.
Oh, you do? I'm not crazy
most
about
people
it.
wouldn't. That's because you're French.
Yes.
You weren't grown up on marshmallows.
I'm French from Connecticut. Here we are.
Well, that looks lovely. You know, these, you're just warming them through this way. Now, here are the Brussels sprouts.
With the Brussels sprouts in there.
And then you're going to carve the turkey a little bit anyway, so we can see how it goes.
Here we are.
Well, that looks lovely.
And this,
Wow.
I thought that first, showing them the whole leg, the stuffed leg this way, you know, because you see this way, it's all nice and stuffed.
And
So it looks
everybody
good.
then the dark meat people get stuffing as well as the white meat people.
So we can carve it. Maybe we'll do one portion. Now a little bit of the turkey, which I like to cut here as you start carving down.
And the nice thing, if you hadn't removed the wishbone, you wouldn't be able to cut it this way.
Right.
That looks lovely. And that's not overdone either.
Now we can grab a little bit of the stuffing underneath. That stuffing looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, here we are here. You think we should put
that's nice.
And the other one on top? We're doing architectural cooking here, lifting it up. The garnish can go around. You want that great gravy to go.
That looks lovely.
Right on top of it. You know. Now, you would continue carving in the dining room this way. I would serve some sauce on the side, but certainly put a little bit on top, like this, to give some richness to the look, you know. And the rest of the sauce, of course, in a sauce boat. We have a real feast here.
We certainly do. Now, what kind of wine would we serve with this?
A lot of wine, and all kind of wine. Red, white. I like to put both on the table.
A sturdy white.
People...
Like a deep, beautiful Chardonnay.
That's a Chardonnay. That's what you want?
No, I'd like a little red, I think.
A little red, okay.
What do we have
And this
here?
is a Pinot Noir. You
Oh,
know.
good. I think that Pinot Noir
Yeah, that
is
Pinot Noir
lovely
would go very well with it. Well, it was great cooking that turkey feast with you.
Well, I'll cook one with you like that any time of the year, Jack. I think it looks absolutely beautiful.
It is, and I hope you're going to do it for your friends, for your family. It was great cooking with you.
Or this weekend.
Yes.
Bon appetit.
And happy cooking.
A presentation of KQED San Francisco.
Every day, millions of people make their soup this way, out of the can, just the way my mother did.
Not my mother. My mother used to make it this way, fresh from scratch.
Fresh homemade soup. That's
Yes.
what we're going to do today.
Happy cooking.
Bon appetit. We're going to start out with that famous French onion soup, gratiné.
Right.
You're going to do the onions.
We start with onion. I have about a pound of onion here.
How many is
And,
this going to serve?
Oh, I would say that would serve 6 people. You have a
Good.
pot ready for me?
I do. I'll put
So I got a pot of
vegetable
onion.
oil in it here. That's enough to film the pan, really.
That's great. So I have my onion ready for you.
Yep.
Here we are.
We want a little salt and pepper in there, some
Yes,
herbs.
we put salt and pepper. You know what I put also? I put a little bit of thyme leaf.
That would be nice.
Here we
These
are.
onions are going to cook slowly first so that they're all cooked through tenderly, which will take about 8 to 10 minutes over a moderate flame. Then you brown them, but it's very important that they get thoroughly cooked.
You can see the crystallization of the juice in the bottom, the sugar of the onion, and it's browning here. And you really want it nice and dark, very rich color like this. So now we put the stock. That's it.
And the nice thing about it, you can cook the onions ahead. You can even freeze them if you want. You can be cooking the onions while you're doing something else.
And you know, in a lot of restaurants, they'll serve you an onion soup, and that will be this way. Just the onion soup, sometimes with a crouton on top. But then what we call the onion soup gratiné.
Yes.
So we do the gratin there. Put your onion soup bowl on this because it tends to spill over and all that, and you make a mess. How much crouton you put in there?
Is
Put about 3 in mine here.
Room for that many? The
Cut
bread
pretty
gives
thin.
it a thickening that's very nice.
Right. Okay. So this, bring back to a boil. I mean, the chicken stock is cooked. Do you want to taste it?
How long should this cook? You think half an hour together?
Well, not even. The onions have been cooked for so long. I think it needs salt, right? And a bit
hot.
of pepper. And I'll let you put the wine in it because this is your
good.
touch. Sometimes actually I've seen done with a bit of white wine, but never with a bit of red wine.
Well,
That
it gives
should
it a
be
nice
good.
color.
Get it darker, yes. Nice. And which cheese do you like to put on top?
Well, we have Emmental and Gruyere.
Close to a cup of grated cheese per person. I think this is the Emmentaler, right? Both are Swiss cheese anyway.
Yeah.
So you really want to pile it up on top. And those onion soup bowl have a kind of little border here, and it holds the cheese this way. So I'm going to put that in the oven around 400 degrees, and that will take a good 35-40 minutes. Smells good. I think it's ready. It's nice and crusty here. Whoop, look at that.
That was 30 to 40 minutes, wasn't
Yes,
it?
at least, yes. As you can see, really hot. So we put it on the plate here. I mean, you have a thick crust here,
No.
which is basically what you want.
And
a
it
thick
smells
crust.
so good with all that cheese.
It's so good. With a glass of red wine, a
That's
piece of
what we
cheese.
serve.
Or maybe no cheese, but a fruit, and you have a meal.
That's real hot.
And good.
You have asbestos mouth. I'm going to have to wait a minute. It smells so good.
That's good.
That's a real dish. We're going to do 2 versions of leek and potato soup. There's the old standbys, leek and potato.
Yes, I mean, if I had one soup to choose from, I would pick up leek and potato
I would
soup.
too.
Yeah, and I tell you, home, winter, we do soup in no time at all. Even the piece I take out from the outside, I put that in stock, I keep it, I wash it. And, but there, one of the mistakes often people do, they cut all of this out, you know. And I feel that here, for example, you take one here, and when you see the color starting to change, which get a lighter green, then I go up, you know, eventually to get basically to the end of it, to keep this, you know. And this, as I say again, you keep it for stock.
It has nice color, but not much flavor, hasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see it's very dirty here, so what you
Very
have to do
dirty.
is
Did you
to
grow
split
that
it.
one yourself?
I didn't grow that one. The supermarket grew that one. So you can see this beautiful light green color, but then it has to be rinsed, preferably under like lukewarm water, you know, to take all of that out.
These have been all cleaned.
Washed, yes.
So now we're going to start out.
With the leek.
Now we're going to make a leek and potato soup that can be turned into a vichyssoise.
Yes.
Which I want to
That's
be
what I'm... So I'm
pretty
putting
white.
a little bit of oil in mine, and that's it for the time being.
I'm going to save out the green,
Are you saving the green?
because I want my soup to be quite white.
I want all the green in mine, so I'm starting this here.
Mine is a pristine white for a possible vichyssoise.
Okay.
I'm going to saute mine also in a little butter. And you're going to cut up an onion, are you, for
Yes,
us
I'm
both?
giving you a little bit of onion, so those are almost a pound. You know, those onions are quite large.
They're
So
beautiful.
half of it be enough for you?
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
friendly. Your Yours are cooking fairly fast. Mine are going to cook slowly.
Okay.
I'm going to what they do called sweat them.
Actually, the leek is the same family than the onion. The leek, chives, shallots, garlic even, it's all part of the allium family. And it can make you cry when you do it. Okay. Mine, I don't let it sweat too long, a couple of minutes here. And then I'm ready to put the potato. So, potato are kept in water.
Go in for quite a while.
For quite a while, okay. I cut it very coarsely because I'm going to put it through the food mill anyway, so it doesn't matter.
But you want the potato to mash nicely, so
yes.
This would be a russet.
Yeah, well,
you can go.
I mean, the all-purpose potato is fine also,
yeah.
right? And mine, I'm going to do with chicken stock. This is a base soup that you do, and you can actually finish it, strain it, or puree it, put it in container, and freeze it at that point. You can have all kind of addition to it later on. So what I want to do here is to bring it to a boil, cover it, and simmering like 15, 20 minutes, then I'm ready to... And yours?
This is nice and tender, and I want a little bit of thickening, so I'm going to put a little flour in there, about 2 tablespoons. And that has to cook for a minute or two so that you won't have the taste of uncooked flour.
That's good.
And then that's going to simmer with just a little bit of water.
Here is your potato. And it's important, isn't it, not to wash the potato after you cut them?
Because we want the starch to stay, because that'll help thicken the soup. When it comes to the simmer, then add more water. And in go the potatoes. Then this also, along with yours, is going to take about 20 minutes or so.
You want a bit of salt in there?
Yes, we need some salt. Now here's my leek and potato soup, and the potatoes are done, so I can do several things with it. I can puree as it is, and it'll be nice and white, and let it chill and serve it as a vichyssoise with a little bit of cream in it. Or I can serve it country style, just pressing it with one of these forks and roughly mashing it, and that would be very country style and nice.
Good, yeah.
Or we have some watercress that's getting a little wilted.
Yeah, right.
And I think we can cook it with some watercress, and Jack's going to cut it up.
You want to cut it?
And that's going to be very nice.
Pretty fine, right?
Yeah, pretty fine. And then it'll have to cook about 3 or 4 minutes longer. I think watercress soup is delicious. So the idea is here that you really, with your leek and potato, you have a wonderful base you can do all kinds of things with.
All right, so that looks good.
Now I'm going to let that simmer away while Jacques finishes his soup. It's amazing how many soups we're getting out of this.
Well, I like to put mine through the food mill, all like this, you know. And this is the fine blade, you know.
Fine blade.
Yes. This is very handy. I love those food mills.
Yeah.
I use it a lot.
You could use the food processor for this, but with the food processor wouldn't take out any kind of strings, would it?
Right.
You're really better off if you have something that could have strings in it. Better off using the food mill.
Yes, the bottom. Don't forget to scrape all of that goodie here. And you know, at that point, it's good even to emulsify it a little more if you want with that type of machine. And if I were doing a vichyssoise too, then I would cool off some of this. You know, I put it in ice, and we can finish that with cream and chives, right?
Yeah.
But for the plain soup like this, I like to finish it with butter. You know, so all I put...
Because it doesn't have any fat in it at all at this point, does it?
And not at that point, so we put...
So not to worry.
Not to worry. So we finish it just with a bit of emulsion of fresh butter at the end. Now, let's pretend that this is cold. We put a bit of cream in it. Maybe we put some chives in there. You put chive in the vichyssoise, right?
Good.
So, This one would be, I would put the vichyssoise there, of course, cold and creamier because of the cream. And then the potage, really parmentier here, you know. I like to serve it plain like that with croutons. You know, those are little diced croutons that rub a little bit of butter and put them in the oven. And we do, so chervil.
Yes, chervil, yes.
Chervil is very classic
nice.
there, and you serve it in pieces like this. I love it, has a bit of an anise taste.
And a tiny tarragon taste, too. It's lovely,
Yes,
I think. It's
yes.
delicious.
So that's great. We have 2 more soup. So
Well,
we're moving back to yours.
I'll put a little cream in. You don't have to.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I think we can, do you want to ladle that out?
Okay.
That's very nice. I think that slightly chunkiness
Yes.
is good.
Shall we put a few leaves of watercress on top?
You don't have enough salt in it now, too bad.
That's too late.
That's good. Well, those look lovely, I think. Now we're going to do a wonderful Mediterranean-type fish soup. And this is the kind of a soup that you can make anywhere in the country, even in Kansas City. And so any place that you can get some fish, or you can even make it and put potatoes in rather than fish. It's the principle that counts.
Even with salmon, right?
Yes, because we happen to have some.
We have a piece, so you can use it. So we start with olive oil on that one. All right. So some scallion.
Scallions aren't usual in a traditional soup like this, but you don't need to be traditional.
No.
The thing is to make a
we
wonderful
are.
soup.
We want to put some onion, garlic in there.
And proportions aren't very important either. That's probably about half a big onion. And here's some garlic. We're beginning to smell Mediterranean. It smells like the streets of Marseille.
Well, I'm going to cut some tomato for you there. And
You're not going to seed them or anything?
No, I wouldn't seed them or do anything there. I mean, you know, it's more country style. It's going to be kind of
a very country style
earthy.
soup.
About 2 cups of tomato could be fine. We're cooking for you and me or cooking for?
Well, they're cooking for about 6 people.
Okay.
I think with these things, there's so many things you don't need a recipe for. If you've seen it done, then you work it out yourself. I mean, some people will come up and say, oh, the recipe says 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and I've only got a teaspoon. I can't make the recipe. Of course you can make the recipe. Just put something else in or leave it out.
Okay. And I'm going
Well,
to...
you might prep the fish.
Yeah, I'll prep the fish and I'll strain some fish stock here with the head and the bone of the fish so we don't lose anything.
Now, one thing, Jacques, very often people don't have fish stock or there isn't something around. I use chicken stock. You don't like that idea.
Well,
but I think
no,
but it needs some strength to it.
Yes, what you could do also is to use one of those bottles of clam juice,
which I don't happen to like.
Add water to it because it's a bit strong, you know.
But the chicken stock is quite mild. You have to have something with strength in it. So we would call that a possibility, but a last resort.
Well, this is for your soup. In fact, I wanted to taste this. See, the stock is just plain. It has a nice fish taste, has no salt, nothing in it. So.
And all you did was just to boil up.
That's it.
It's just about 20 minutes. It couldn't be easier.
Yes, the fish stock doesn't take too long to do as opposed to the meat stock. Shall we put wine in it?
Wine in?
Yes, like 1 cup. It's exactly 1 cup.
You don't have to have wine in it, but I think it's
you
nice.
Do. I like it. Should I put this?
And this just has to simmer away. I think put the whole thing in, don't you?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And then we can season it, salt, pepper. If you want to put, we put the saffron in it.
And I'm just going to, I think just about a pinch, about like that. And
yes, I like it, so I put more, but...
I'll put a half
especially
amount more, because I don't like a medicinal taste. You can always add more, but you can't take it out.
I give you a little bit of fresh thyme.
Good.
In there. We have some tarragon also, which are the kind of anise taste and goes well in the south, but maybe we'll put that at the end?
Yes.
We'll have more taste? Yes, okay.
See if it needs
I think it's a good idea. And shall we put salt and pepper in it?
Yeah.
I think we...
It'll need it.
And it doesn't really have to boil that long.
But
after it comes to a
you
boil,
want to get the flavor out of all these things.
you want the good flavor out of it, and during that time, of course, you can prepare your fish. Because the advantage of this, you would prepare your fish, but you would not cook it. You would cook it just at the last moment when you're ready to serve your guest, so that it doesn't get overcooked. And I think 1-inch pieces would be about good. Here we are. The salmon give it another color, and in that case here, the skin of the red snapper is left on, but of course it's scaled. You know, we took the scale out of it. Shall we leave the skin on the salmon or take it off?
Take it out, I think.
Okay.
I don't think it would be very nice. I wouldn't like to eat skin in a soup.
Well, the skin of that is very fine, of the red snapper, you know. So here, shall we put another piece here?
I think salmon is just not at all usual.
No.
But this is not an oily salmon. This is a very fresh, nice salmon.
And it's okay. I mean, if you have leftover, and that type of soup lends itself to countless variation. If you have this, you put it. If you have another type of fish, you put another type of fish. Then we have some scallop, and we have those, like butter clam. They call them different, golden clam, and so forth. And now they are a bit available. If you don't have those, you put cherry stones or
these can go in with the shell.
Yeah, well, I think we put that with the shell.
I think so. Or you could, mussels would be very nice.
Uh-huh.
In other words, you put in what you have.
So another 5 minutes, and then we'll put all of that in and finish it up with the sauce.
Good.
Action, action.
This is a pestle, and in the south of France, when they make a fish soup, they make this wonderful garlic sauce called a rouille, which is garlic and olive oil, and they pound it in a great big mortar like this. When we were living in France way back in 1949, we found this in the flea market in Paris, and my husband Paul had to carry it about a mile. See how heavy it is.